Pastor Jamal Bryant, who has led a successful economic withdrawal of Target because of their dismissal of Black folks spending green dollars. Now, famous celebrity, influencer, the big homie Rick Ross is in Target as if this ain't happening. Jamal Bryant, not afraid of controversy, has something to say. Here it is.
Letting y'all know I need help. I've been kidnapped. I'm in Target.
You riding dirty. You riding dirty.
Yo, look at this. Yo, guys. Guys, yo. Somebody save me. What are we here for?
I'm looking for the kitchen appliances.
Let's get into it. Put up the picture full mask. As you are well aware, Pastor Jamal Bryant has been on this program multiple times. We have discussed the economic withdrawal or boycott of Target. I was the moderator for a live event in Atlanta where he organized not only people, but also leaders of the movement, including our very own former Senator Nina Turner. According to Atlanta Black Star, Reverend Jamal Bryant is calling out celebrities and entertainers for still shopping at Target stores, currently facing the wrath of a nationwide boycott or withdrawal. A celebrity shopping trip turned into a teachable moment when he publicly called out rapper Rick Ross, rapper and business owner Rick Ross, for shopping at the very store, facing organized resistance from the Black community. The rapper's innocent social media post featuring his new girlfriend sparked a conversation that extends far beyond retail aisles, touching on celebrity influence and collective economy or economic power within the Black community or Black America. The ill-timed adventure began with Rick Ross playfully climbing into a mobility car while his new girlfriend, Miss Kendrick, pushed him through the store, creating content that seemed purely for laughs initially, but demonstrated a troubling disconnect from ongoing activism. Jamal Bryant, Atlanta area pastor leading a high-profile boycott against Target, viewed the post as a missed opportunity for awareness and responded with educational intent. Bryant wrote on Instagram, and I quote, "Hey family, at Rich Forever, you are an incredibly influential figure for the culture who many aspire to emulate. To that end, I thought it important to share with you that the community has been boycotting Target because of their disregard for our value and a disrespect for the dollars we spend. As a businessman, you are acutely and intimately aware of community relationships with the consumer. All that we are asking for is rolled out at targetfast.org. Don't let them divide us. When we as a whole understand our economic strength and the power of unity, 63 years after the March on Washington, every day we shouldn't be hustling. Respectfully, be the boss, not the pawn." End quote. Ross, who has been super critical of Trump in the past, performed at Trump's crypto ball. That was January 2025, where he appeared alongside Snoop, Nelly, and Soldier Boy. At least Soldier Boy told the truth. It was about the bag. This was during the inauguration weekend. We covered that extensively on Indisputable. That appearance had already created tension with fans concerned about the administration's policies affecting the minority community. Let me give you a reminder of the boycott. So the boycott campaign emerged after the retailer decided to scale back diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives following Trump's return to office. The movement demands that Target invest $2 billion in Black communities, deposit $250 million in Black-owned banks that creates an ecosystem of economy in locally affixed Black communities, establish partnerships with 6 historically Black colleges, universities, restructure its approach to diversity programs, and the campaign coincides with Target experiencing decline in store traffic sales since January, despite reporting over $25 billion in second quarter sales. The CEO has resigned, but it's kind of like musical chairs. They just kind of moved him around and moved another company guy, a front man, in the front position. So your COO becomes CEO. And then you move your other guy around so that he is not the face of the brand anymore, but still very much so likely in charge or at least at the table. And as I said before, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So this is an attempt to make sure that Black folk in the community are respected because they are paying green dollars. I will give Rick Ross the benefit of the doubt, as I think Pastor Jamal Bryant has done, to say to Ross, we don't think what you're doing is intentional, but it is a disconnect if you don't know, if you're not aware of the massive and very successful economic withdrawal that's taken place as it relates to Target. Target not only decided to get rid of their diversity, equity, and inclusion program, they weren't under any mandate to do so. They made promises to the Black community. They made promises to the George Floyd family. They made promises to Black nonprofit organizations, and they decided to revoke those promises when Trump got into office. Because according to them, well, Trump was making it difficult. Trump made nothing difficult. He simply said an illegal thing while being president of the United States. They are not under any law to get rid of these diversity programs. And according to the narrative from activists, they gave Target a blank slate to redefine the terminology, diversity, equity, and inclusion in the way they thought best, but to maintain the substance of the spirit of what it meant was important to them. Target decided to ignore that. The CEO of Target attempted to meet and buy off every other Black leader that would hold an audience with them, instead of meeting with the 4 or 5 people who are squarely leading the protest. They'd rather lose billions of dollars over a short amount of time than contribute money directly to the same consumer base that upholds their bottom line. To the board of directors, to the individuals who are in charge of making sure the bottom line remains the bottom line. If you keep picking feckless leaders to lead Target and ignore the consumerism of Black people, you will find yourself not only in this position, but in a position much worse. Why? Because Black folks have white friends. It ain't just white folks that got some Black friends. Okay? Black folks got white friends too. We call them allies. And those allies are getting hip to your game. And those allies are standing in unison against this kind of misuse of the public trust. So here we are. All right, we'll see how Rick Ross responds. I'm glad Pastor Jamal Bryant set the tone for this conversation. I think he did an appropriate job. We will have Pastor Jamal Bryant on the program later this week. Jackson, thoughts, dear brother?
So, I think it's fine to call out Rick Ross or people like him, but me personally, I don't really expect much from Rick Ross or really anybody in that class. Because I think that people who care about these types of issues demonstrate that for themselves. Rick Ross is a very grown man. He has all the resources he needs to know that there's a boycott going on and how that impacts the black community. Kind of like, well, why isn't Floyd Mayweather talking about these issues? Like, I mean, like, I don't. It was Malcolm X who was talking about how these are not real leaders. I mean, maybe sometimes people who step up can be, but he said, white people they don't make comedians and singers and dancers. They leaders. And I'm not saying that they cannot be, but for me personally, I think that if someone has stepped up to the plate and shown that they are leaders in this regard, are supportive of initiatives. Rick Ross performed at some Trump event. Like, I think it's pretty clear. He don't care. I mean, maybe if you sit him down and talk about it, then be like, oh yeah, maybe that wasn't a good idea. But again, like for me personally, I don't really expect much out of celebrities because that's not what got them famous and it's not what got them rich. But it would be nice if people like Rick Ross would be a little bit more aware and participate in things like this. So I think it's good that Pastor Jamal Bryant called him out because, maybe we can help to bring more people on the side of being active. But other than that, I think it's important for people who do give a damn to do their best to step up.
Well said. And, we continue to look for the Harry Belafonte of this
Right.
particular era. Individuals who had fame, power, influence, and respect in Hollywood, but also supported the movement, sometimes behind the scenes and then later in front of the scenes in order to carry the overall initiative. All right, we'll bring updates as they come.